Welcome back, students. Today we are going to discuss digestive system part 2, and this topic belong to unit 6. Okay, so now let's discuss this particular topic. But before I start the main thing, I would like to inform that the images used in our slides are for education purpose only. We respect intellectual property right of the original creator and owner of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this PPT, have any concern, any issue, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. In this particular video lecture, we are going to discuss these points: digestive glands, nutritional requirement for carbohydrate, protein, fat, minerals and vitamins, nutritional imbalance and deficiency disease. Okay, so digestive gland. First gland, or in the last lecture in part 1 we have discussed the total organs which are involved in alimentary canal. Okay, digestive system. So first digestion starts from our mouth cavity. Okay, so from mouth cavity to esophagus, then stomach, followed by small intestine, large intestine, and towards the anus. These are the different parts which involve in the digestive system. And there are certain kind of glands are also involved in the digestive system. So first type of gland, which is known as salivary gland, these are present in the our oral cavity, right? And what is the use of this salivary gland? Actually, salivary gland produce saliva. Salivary gland produce saliva. So this salivary gland is present in our oral cavity in pairs. So 3 pairs of salivary gland which are present in our oral cavity. The first part of this gland, parotid gland, first gland parotid gland, then submandibular gland and sublingual gland. This is the third type of gland. So 3 pairs of salivary gland are present in our oral cavity. Okay, first parotid gland which is present in the cheeks, in our cheeks side. Okay, submandibular present over here in the lower jaw area. We can also use the term submaxillary for the same. Okay, and sublingual is present just beneath the tongue, below the tongue, sublingual. Okay, so these glands are situated just outside the buccal cavity and secrete salivary juice in the buccal cavity. Clear? Now, second type of gland which are associated with the alimentary canal is liver. Liver is also known as largest gland or present in our body. What is the weight of liver? It is about 1.2 to 1.5 kg. Okay, and this liver is situated just below the diaphragm. Just below the diaphragm. Diaphragm is the muscular structure just present in the just below side of our lungs, and this liver is just situated just below the diaphragm. Okay, and this liver is having 2 lobes. 2 lobes. One lobe is there, bigger lobe. Okay, and another one is the smaller lobe. Okay. Now, this liver contains hepatic lobules which are actually covered by the Glason's capsule. Okay, liver cells is known as hepatic cells, and these hepatic cells which are present in the hepatic lobule actually secrete a kind of juice which is known as bile juice. Okay, with this bile juice which is represent over here in as a green color, this actually is stored in a small structure known as gallbladder. Okay, so this bile juice is secreted by the hepatic cells and it is stored in the gallbladder via hepatic duct. So these are the hepatic duct. And bile juice mainly involve in the fat digestion. Okay, so the duct of bile gland, which is also known as cystic duct, combined with hepatic duct, from the liver and form a common bile duct. So this is the cystic duct, which is actually associated with the gallbladder, and these are the hepatic duct, which are actually directly come from the liver side. So when this cystic duct combined with the hepatic duct, that after the fusion of both type of duct, cystic duct and hepatic duct, here we can use the term bile duct as a common. So we can say bile duct contain both type of duct, cystic duct and hepatic duct. Hepatic duct comes directly from the liver side and cystic duct come from the gallbladder side. Okay, so this bile duct further combined with this another red color duct which comes from the pancreas, and over here both the type of duct, bile duct and pancreatic duct, fuse together. Where? Here, near the sphincter of Oddi. At that time we can use the term hepatopancreatic duct because it contains both the type of juices, hepatic juice as well as pancreatic juice. So here where these two type of duct fuse together, now we can use the term hepatopancreatic duct for the same, and it is fused near the duodenum site, near the sphincter of Oddi of duodenum. What does it mean? Means secretion of liver and secretion of pancreas, or juice of liver or juice of pancreas, both actually secrete in the small intestinal area, not in the stomach. Okay, so this is the second thing which you can clear right now with the help of this diagram. Okay, because both the ducts just open in the duodenum area of small intestine. Clear? So the common hepatopancreatic duct open into the duodenum, guarded by the sphincter of Oddi. And this pancreas is just a leaf-like structure which is also present near the small intestine. And already I told you that pancreas is able to secrete both the things, both the type of secretions, means it can function as a exocrine as well as endocrine gland, means these are able to secrete certain kind of hormones as well as enzymes. Okay, enzyme hormone secretion, that's why endocrine gland. Enzyme secretion also occur over here, means in pancreas, so exocrine gland. So this is the location of pancreas. Just like leaf-like structure, it is a leaf-like structure. It is situated near the small intestine. Okay, again this is a liver, another type of gland which is present in, which is involved in our digestive system. Okay, liver, two lobes, bigger lobe, smaller lobe. This is the gallbladder where bile juice is collected by the gallbladder. The duct is known as cystic duct. These are the hepatic duct. Okay, now at this portion we can use the term bile duct. Bile duct combined with the pancreatic duct at this particular location near the sphincter of Oddi. This time we can use the term hepatopancreatic duct. Clear? Now, so the exocrine portion of our pancreas actually able to release digestive juice, digestive enzyme which actually help in the digestion, while endocrine portion of the pancreas is able to produce certain kind of hormone like insulin and glucagon, which actually regulate the blood sugar of our body. Now so these three type of glands are present which actually secrete various kind of enzymes which help in the digestion. So first gland, salivary gland, is present in our buccal cavity, oral cavity. So digestion starts in the mouth itself. So in the mouth, in buccal cavity, mastication of food occur. big particle convert into the small particle, and it actually facilitate the swallowing of the food, or we can use the term deglutition. Okay. So what is the process of mastication? In the mastication, both teeth and tongues are involved, and their function is accelerated by the saliva, because saliva is actually mixed up properly with the food, and saliva contains certain kind of mucus which actually provide lubrication to the food and adhere the mastication food particle into the bolus. So we can say in the mouth cavity itself, food convert into the bolus form, semi-solid form. Okay, in which teeth, tongue, and saliva, in their own using their own kind of function, they convert big particle into the semi-solid particle. That time we can use the term bolus for the same, for food. Okay. Now this bolus is conveyed into the pharynx, next structure. Okay, and from pharynx to the esophagus side. Okay, by the swallowing or deglutition. And in the esophagus, certain kind of muscular contractions are there, which is known as peristalsis movement, which actually propel the bolus down the esophagus. From the esophagus, where it comes into the stomach part. So what is the role of saliva? Saliva actually involve to produce certain kind of enzymes, certain kind of electrolytes, and salivary enzyme amylase, ptyalin, which is also known as ptyalin. Salivary and amylase actually initiate digestion of carbohydrate. So digestion starts in the mouth cavity itself, mainly carbohydrate digestion. Okay, carbohydrate digestion, because our saliva contains amylase enzyme, and amylase enzyme is mainly involved for the digestion of carbohydrate. Clear? And approximately 30% of the starch is hydrolyzed by the salivary amylase into the maltose form. Polysaccharide to maltose form. What is the optimum pH? Optimum pH is 6.8. ठीक है. Now another enzyme known as lysozyme, it is also present in the saliva. Why there is a need of lysozyme, presence of lysozyme in the buccal cavity? Actually, lysozyme act as a antibacterial agent which actually prevent infection. By mistake, if you eat without washing your hands, you can taken out some food particle, or by mistake any bacteria comes into the oral cavity, that time immediately lysozyme kill that type of bacteria in the mouth cavity itself, so prevent any kind of infection. So saliva means amylase and lysozyme. Amylase plus lysozyme, both are present in the our buccal cavity or in saliva. Okay, so digestion of carbohydrate occur in our buccal cavity or in our mouth cavity, right? And antibacterial activity also occur in our mouth cavity. Now food move toward from the esophagus, peristaltic movement of esophagus towards the stomach side. And this stomach contains certain kind of glands which is known as gastric gland. These gastric glands are present in the stomach mucosa. And this stomach mucosa contains 3 different type of cell. In the last lecture, we have seen that particular diagram. These 3 type of cells, some cells are mainly involved in the secretion of mucus, known as mucous neck cells. Some cells known as chief cell or peptic cell involved in the secretion of pepsinogen enzyme, pepsinogen proenzyme. Some cells known as parietal or oxantic cells, mucus secreting cells, proenzyme secreting cells, and HCl secreting cells. Three different kind of cells are present in the gastric gland, which are present in the stomach mucosa. These oxantic cells are mainly involved to secrete HCl, hydrochloric acid, and a intrinsic factor which actually essential for vitamin B12 absorption. Okay, so in the stomach, gastric glands are present, which contains three different type of cells. Some cells involved in the secretion of mucus, some involved in the secretion of certain kind of proenzyme, pepsinogen, and HCl. So what is the function of stomach? In stomach, our food are present in the stomach for approximately 4 to 5 hours. Churning of the food, just like mixie. Okay, so churning movement occur in the stomach with the help of its muscular wall, and through churning movement, various kind of secretions like mucus, like enzymes, like HCl, they all mix with the food, and this time that chutney type of structure is known as chyme. So that bonus convert into the chyme inside the stomach. Okay, so pepsinogen enzyme actually which is secreted by the stomach mucosa lining of stomach, this will convert into the active enzyme pepsin in the presence of HCl. That's why HCl is also secreted by the oxytocin cells. Okay, and this protein further convert into the its simplest form, means proteoses and peptones, because of the activity of pepsin. Okay, so this pepsinogen, when exposed to the hydrochloric acid, convert into its active form like pepsin. So conversion of pepsinogen into the pepsin occur in the presence of HCl. Okay, and that time when it is converted into the pepsin, because of its proteolytic activity, it convert large protein particles into its simplest unit, peptide form, proteoses and peptones form. Clear? What is the role of mucus and bicarbonate? Actually, mucus or bicarbonate, which is also present in the gastric juice, it provide lubrication to the muscular epithelial layer. Why? Because HCl is secreted inside the our stomach. HCl is a strong acid. It can create a kind of harm to our stomach. So this mucus that time provide lubrication to the stomach wall. This harm can be generated because of the presence of concentrated HCl. And as concentrated HCl is also released by the stomach, that's why what is the pH of stomach? pH of stomach is acidic in nature. And because pH is acidic in nature, that's why it is suitable for the activity of pepsin. So to activate pepsin, HCl must be there. But HCl is acidic in nature, so it can create a kind of harm to the wall of stomach. So to avoid that kind of harm, mucus is also secreted by the inner lining of stomach. Clear? Now, apart from these three things like mucus, proenzymes like pepsin and this HCl, some other enzymes like renin, this is also secreted by the infant, as this renin is found in the infant gastric juice, which actually help in the milk protein digestion, and a small amount of lipases are also present. in the stomach, which actually secreted by the gastric gland. Okay, but only in a small amount. After stomach, what is the next area? That is small intestine, where both kind of juices like pancreatic juice and bile juice come together and mix into the small intestinal area. Okay, so pancreatic juice and bile juice are released into the small intestine area. This pancreatic juice contains certain kind of inactive enzymes like trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, amylase, lipase, nucleases. These all enzymes are present in the pancreatic juice. Okay, so this pepsinogen is activated by the enzyme enterokinase, which is secreted by the intestinal mucosa. This enterokinase is secreted by the intestinal mucosa, that in the presence of enterokinase, this trypsinogen will get converted into the active trypsin, and this in turn activate other enzymes which are present in the pancreatic juice, like procarboxypeptidase, chymotrypsinase, amylase, lipase, and so on. Okay, now what is the role of bile? Bile is also released in the duodenum region, and this bile pigments like bilirubin and bilivernin, bile salt, cholesterol, and phospholipid, these are the components which are present in the bile juice. So, two pigments, bilirubin and bilivernin, bile salt, cholesterol, and phospholipid. These are collectively known as bile. This bile is actually help in the emulsification of fat, means breaking down of the fat into a very small micelle form. Okay, and this bile also activate lipase enzyme. So we can say bile is helping in the digestion of fat. Okay, now in the intestinal juice, succus entericus, this intestinal mucosa epithelium also contains certain kind of goblet cell which secrete mucus. Okay, and it's this intestinal mucosal epithelium contains brush bordered cell of mucosa which contribute in the intestinal juice. In intestinal juice, certain kind of enzymes like disaccharidases, dipeptidases, lipases, nucleosidases, these are present. So this mucus along with the bicarbonate ion which comes from the pancreas protect intestinal mucosa from acid. Okay, and this pancreatic bicarbonate and mucus here in the intestine provide an alkaline medium. In stomach, there is a acidic medium because of the presence of HCl. But in the intestine, because of the presence of bicarbonate ion, which is released by the pancreas, mucus, which is released by the pancreas, that acidic pH will get converted into the alkaline medium, and pH is about 7.8. And this pH is suitable for these enzyme activity: disaccharidases, dipeptidases, lipases, and nucleosidases. Okay, so digestion of biomacromolecules like protein, proteases, peptones in the chyme, which is present in the chyme, reaching the intestine, are acted upon the proteolytic enzyme by pancreatic juice. Carbohydrate are hydrolyzed by the pancreatic amylase into the disaccharide. Okay, this fat are broken down by the lipases in the in the presence of bile, and this will convert into the diglyceride and monoglyceride in the small intestine itself. Similarly, nucleases which are present in the pancreatic juice convert nucleic acid to form nucleotide and nucleoside. Okay, so final conversion of the macromolecule to micromolecule form, okay, occur in the small intestine. Okay. Similarly, the enzyme which is present in the succus entericus further process the end product of the above reactions to form respective simple and absorbable form of all kind of macromolecules like carbohydrate, fat, starch, protein, all. So, this protein peptone proteases in the presence of trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase convert into the dipeptide. This is starch in the presence of amylase convert into the disaccharide. Fat in the presence of lipase convert into diglyceride, monoglyceride. Nucleic acid in the presence of nucleases convert into the nucleotide and nucleoside. Clear? So these are the same kind of structures. So in dipeptide will get converted into the simplest form, means amino acid form in the presence of dipeptidase. Maltose, which is a disaccharide, convert into the glucose plus glucose in the presence of maltase. Lactose in the presence of lactase convert into glucose plus galactose. Sucrose in the presence of sucrose convert into glucose plus fructose. Similarly, nucleotide into the nucleoside in the presence of nucleotidase. Di and monoglycerides further convert into its simplest form like fatty acid and glycerol in the presence of lipases. So these are the enzymes involved to convert oligosaccharide or disaccharide into the monosaccharide form or its simplest form in case of protein or fat. Now, when it convert into the simplest form in the small intestine, now what is the next step? Absorption of the simplest form and elimination of the waste product. So, breakdown of biomacromolecule, which already mentioned in the last slide, occurring primarily into the duodenum region, and the simple substance which continuously convert because of the enzymatic activity of pancreatic juice and intestinal juice itself, it will convert into the simplest form which are absorbed in the jejunum and ileum regions. So digestion mainly occur in the duodenum region and absorption occur in jejunum and ileum region. This is very important. And the undigested food and unabsorbed substance are then further passed to the large intestinal area. Okay, so absorption of the food, passage of digested food from the intestinal lining means mucosa into the lymph or blood. So what are the mechanisms involved in the absorption? Simple mechanism like simple diffusion. So passive movement of small molecules like glucose, amino acid, electrolyte down a concentration gradient where there is no energy is required. Further, for some kind of molecule, facilitated transport is also used up by the cell, like for glucose, certain kind of amino acid. Okay, so certain kind of molecules require energy also. ठीक है? So if down the concentration gradient, then there is no energy required. Against the concentration gradient occur absorption, then it require energy. For some molecules, active transport is also involved. If movement of substance occur against the concentration gradient, that time it use energy, means ATP. Okay, so this is the simple diffusion from high concentration to low concentration. Facilitated diffusion where there is a carrier molecule involved, high concentration to low concentration. Okay, but from low concentration to high concentration, if there is a need to transport a molecule, then that time ATP is involved. So nutrition absorption occur in its simplest form like amino acid, glucose, sodium ion. In its form, these are absorbed into the blood by active transport. Okay, fatty acid, glycerol, which are insoluble from micelle in the intestinal mucosa. Micelle reform into the chylomicron. Small chylomicrons are the small protein coated fat globules. These are the fatty acids, monoglyceride, These further convert into the emulsified form or micelle. These micelle convert into the chylomicron with the when there is a protein covering comes around that fat globules. Okay, now these chylomicron, these are the chylomicron. There is a protein covering. Okay, now these chylomicron are comes towards the lymph capillary, comes towards the lymph category, which is known as lacteal. Then this lymph into the lacteal transport chylomicron come away from the intestine. Okay, that's why it is written over here. Initially, this micelle reform itself into the chylomicron. In the conversion, there is a small protein covering comes around this fat globule. Now, this chylomicron are transported into the lymph vessel, into the villi, releasing absorbed substance into the bloodstreams. Okay, now absorption site occur in different parts of the alimentary canal, including mouth, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. But maximum absorption occur in the small intestine only. Maximum absorption. Okay, now assimilation, absorb substance reach to the tissue where they utilize for various activity. Egestion, this is the last part. So solidified digestive waste, which is also known as fecal material, comes into the rectum side, initiate a neural reflex. Okay, the urge for removal lead the voluntary defecation through mass peristaltic movement. Okay, so this is a small chart with which we can very quickly revise all the steps. First step comes with the mouth, where chewing of the food occur, where saliva is mixed up with the food. Because salivary glands are present in the mouth, salivary gland produce saliva which contain starch digesting enzyme like amylase, is little bit lysozymes also there. Okay, now from the mouth, food comes in this area, pharynx. Okay, and where it mix with the saliva. Now we can use the term bolus for the same. Okay, from bolus, this bolus now come from phalanx to esophagus area. So this bolus move towards the stomach via esophagus. This is the esophagus area. Now this is the stomach, J-shaped structure, where stomach actually churn the food with gastric juice. And this gastric juice contains HCl, certain protein digesting enzyme like pepsin, okay, and some mucus. So because of the presence of HCl, it provides acidic medium. Now we can use the term chyme for the food. Here bolus, here chyme. Okay, so after stomach, food comes towards the small intestine side, where secretions of the liver as bile and secretions of the pancreas as bicarbonate ion and certain enzymes which are present in the pancreatic juice mixed up in the duodenum region, where maximum digestion occur of all kind of macromolecules. Maximum digestion occur in the duodenum region. Okay, and the ileum and the next part, jejunum, is mainly involved in the absorption, and the large intestine actually involved to absorb remaining water which are present in the large intestine. Some essential vitamins and mineral absorption also occur in the large intestine. Okay, from where the whole solid area, now we can use the term waste material pass towards the anus, where it allowed to open or defecate the waste material outside the body. So this is the overall overview of the whole digestive system of our body. Okay, so now some disorders which is related to the digestive system. Like first one is the intestinal inflammation. It is very common because of the bacterial and viral infection. Sometimes intestinal inflammation occur. Some parasites like tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, hookworm, pinworm, they also cause inflammation of our intestine. Another type of disorder known as jaundice, in which actually liver affected, resulting yellowing of skin and our eye because of the bile pigment deposition. Vomiting, ejection of stomach content through the mouth is known as vomiting, which is this vomiting is controlled by the vomic center, which is present in the medulla region of our brain. Okay, so often this is preceded by the feeling of nausea. If someone feeling nausea, that time this vomic center get activated and vomiting occur. Diarrhea is another kind of disorder. These all type of problems comes because of the contaminated food, or you can take on food with the without washing your hands. Okay, similar diarrhea, this is again an abnormal frequency of bowel movement, increase liquidity of fecal discharge, reduce food absorption. That time we can use the term diarrhea. Constipation is another type of problem which is related to the digestive system, in which fecal material retain within the rectum region due to irregular bowel movements. Indigestion, where food is not properly digested, leading to a feeling of fullness. What are the causes? Causes include inadequate enzyme secretions, anxiety, food poisoning, overeating, or spicy food. Okay, there are two different type of diseases: Kwashiorkor disease and marasmus disease. These are the serious disorders. This Kwashiorkor disease develop in the children whose diet are in deficient of protein, while this marasmus disease present in all those individual which are deficiency of protein and calories. So both are developed because of the absence of protein, deficiency of protein. This Kwashiorkor disease occur in the children between 6 months to 3 years, while this one is common in infant to 1 year only. In this Kwashiorkor disease, subcutaneous fat is preserved, while here there is no subcutaneous fat is not preserved. You can see the picture, you can compare the picture. Here fat is there. Fat is not present in the marasmus disease. In this, edema is present, edema is absent. In Kwashiorkor disease, fatty liver, enlarged fatty liver is the significant feature. There is no fatty liver present in the marasmus disease. Ribs are not very prominent in this case, while here in marasmus disease, ribs are very, very prominent. These are lethargic. In the marasmus, alter and irritable individual. Muscle wasting occur, muscle wasting mild or absent, while in the marasmus case, severe muscle wasting, muscle loss because of the deficiency of marasmus. In Kwashiorkor, poor appetite is the reason. Here, voracious feeder. These are the voracious feeder. This type of person who are suffering with the Kwashiorkor, the person suffering need adequate amount of protein. The person suffering with the marasmus also need adequate amount of protein, fat and carbohydrate, all three contents, while this is corely need protein. So this is all about the digestive system topic. Now this topic has been completed from my side. If you have any query, any doubt related to today's video lecture, please let me know. We will discuss it later on. Till then, take care, bye bye, and keep learning. Namaskar.